Okay, hello again. This video is called a two-card reading, and it's going to be part one of two. So the thing is, we call it a tarot reading, but really it's a tarot speaking, okay? Because it's up to us, the reader, to speak about what's there or what the card shows. We don't just point to a card and everybody understands. So in the second portion of this video, and I hope to have it done around the 20th of April, I'm going to show you a method that we can all use that will make, is going to make us more fluent in speaking about cards and in saying what's helpful and useful to the questioner, so we don't have to fall back on sort of good advice. So the two-card spread that this video is about is going to be, I'm suggesting a couple of ways to use it. One is to use it in a couple of situations. One is for questions about somebody's prospects in a particular area, or if they want to know the odds for success or failure in a particular endeavour. And the second is for when we want to practice on our own, so that when we do answer questions for other people, we're more comfortable because there's more likelihood that we've seen a particular card in a particular position and so on. So we're not sort of seeing things for the first time. So what you do is you shuffle the card. I'll show you this in a little bit, but you shuffle the cards and you pick a card and put it down on the table, and you put a second one across the first one. And you're probably going to recognize this as the beginning of a Celtic cross, but in this video and at the moment I just want to work with these two cards. I'll be doing videos later that will look in detail at the other cards in the Celtic cross. And at the moment I'm setting up a site which is just going to be about the Celtic cross and how to read it with video and audio and stuff you can read there. And it, I hope, will be ready in a couple of weeks. Today's the 8th of April. I think 2012, so the other video part 2 will be up and uploaded around about the 20th of April, and the Celtic Cross site will be there. There's nothing there at the moment. Anyway, so I'm saying you can use this spread to answer questions, and it's legitimate, even though it's only two cards and it's only the beginning of a Celtic Cross. You can do a lot with it, right? But you can also use it if you want to practice on your own. At the same time, some people find the Celtic cross very difficult or too complicated, or not that good. But there are three keys to reading a Celtic cross. Number one is know the different position, know what the different positions reveal, right? Second is remember the question. And the third point is work with the card that you get. Trust that the cards that come up in the spread are the ones that are meant to be there somehow, or that they're the ones that you're supposed to deal with. So point number one is know the card positions, so that when you know all 10 positions, you can talk sensibly about the past, the present and the future, or you can talk about the other people who might be involved in the answer, or you can talk about the questioner's fears, right, or what's soon no longer going to be there and have to be dealt with, right? So you've got a variety of types of information that you can get. So you've got an idea of the timeline for the individual for the answer. And so if the card in the past shows bondage, right, let's say the Eight of Swords, and the card for the future, let's say the final outcome is Judgment, which shows release from confinement, right? And then you're talking about what's going to happen, and the person says, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. You can point to the past and say, okay, this is you in the past, then you were trapped, but in the future, the Judgment card, you're going to find that you've got an awful lot more freedom in the future than you had in the past. So you are actually going to be able to do what the spread shows. Or it could be the other way around, where the person is overly confident about the future, and then you can point out, okay, hang on a minute now, because you had Judgment in the past, right? So you were free. But if you look at the future, you've got the Eight of Swords there, so you're not going to be as free to move as you think you are, or as you want, or as you expect. So settle down and maybe take it one step at a time, instead of rushing ahead into things that maybe won't turn out the way you want. So that's point number 1 then is remember what type of information you're going to get from a card in any of the 10 positions, even though in this video we're only going to look at the first 2. Second is remember the question, right? Because it's easy to talk with a card or just let your intuition go. But the person's there asking a question, right? So we should answer it rather than kind of indulge ourselves talking about what we know or what we are comfortable with, but not and telling the question things that they didn't ask about. So if the question is about money, right? Look at the card and interpret the card for what it says about money. Or if the question's about romance or relationships, then look at the card and talk about what about that card's connection to romance and relationships. And then you're going to be answering the question that the person asked. And the third point is trust the cards that you get. Because some people will turn a card and they don't know how it relates to the question. So they say, is there some, I don't think this is about money, so is there something else you were concerned about? And the problem with this is that everybody has a number of things they're concerned about at any particular time. So if you say to me, is there something else you're concerned about? The answer is yes, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to ask about the question I asked about. So you can don't change the question on me once we've begun. Instead, the reader really, I think, ought to figure out the answer. So, the idea is that you shuffle, put a card on the table, and then put a second one across it. Right. So the first card shows the atmosphere surrounding the question, and the second one shows the opposing force, or any obstacles, or what kind of obstacles are going to get in the way. Right. Some people aren't sure what to do with the atmosphere, but you may be in a group in which the same person always makes the decision, right? So the other people in the group, they know they may as well give in at the start because they're not going to get what they want, or they're not going to get their own way, right? So the atmosphere in that particular group is one of there not being any point in arguing or putting forth your own opinion. Or think of a family where one person could be an adult or a child, one person with a bad temper. So everybody walks around on tiptoes because they're afraid to upset or antagonize the person with the bad temper. So the atmosphere there is behave in a certain way so you don't upset this individual. And that's the kind of atmosphere. And we all recognize atmospheres, and we can do the same with a card. So let's say the first card is the Magician. What kind of atmosphere is that? There's confidence, a belief in your own ability to get things done, creativity on the part of the individual, maybe the urge to begin new projects with confidence that you're going to succeed, right? So it's strong, it's confident, it's hopeful because it's the Magician. Whereas if the first card is the Eight of Swords, the atmosphere is very different. There's bondage, restriction, maybe a fear of the future because you're trapped now and you can't expect, or you don't expect you're going to be able to get out of it. Or if you do get out of it, it's going to take so much out of you that you haven't got anything left to get yourself together. So if the question is, tell me about the next 6 months, right? And you get the Magician, you can say to the person, okay, it's a good period coming up. Okay, there's going to be possibilities, opportunities, and if you're creative and try to put your ideas into practice, you're going to make good progress, right? Whereas if the question is, tell me about the next 6 months, and you get the Eight of Swords, it's a very different situation. You're going to feel trapped, you're going to feel restricted. So if you want to move ahead, it's going to be very difficult because you're kind of stuck to the past. And if you're depending on other people to give you a hand, either they're going to say yes but don't mean it, or they're going to try but they can't, right? Or things are going to fall through. So one way or the other, you kind of, it's maybe the advice for the next 6 months is to get yourself organized and figure out what got you into the trap so you can get out of it. But if you expect things to go easily and go well, you're probably going to be disappointed. So, I want to switch to the table now and pick a few cards and talk about them to give you some examples of how you can practice.
Okay, let's try this. I'm aware of the time that I've spent on the first part, and so I'm going to be brief with this, but I'll do some audio recordings where I'll speak at more length about this kind of thing and what you can do and what sense you can make of the cards that actually come up. So we've done the shuffling, and then you do that and that, right? So that's the beginning of the cross. So we've got the Two of Cups reverse, and the opposing force is the devil. Okay, so let's say it's always important to have a question. So let's say the question is, what's going to happen in the next 6 months or the next 3 months, whatever it happens to be. So you look at this card, the Two of Cups, and it's upside down. I use reverse cards, mainly because it gives you more accuracy, it gives you more detail. It's easier to figure out whether things are going to go well or badly, the way they set. So what's going to happen? What's the atmosphere the next 3 months, next 6 months? We've got the cup, the man and the woman exchanging gifts. So it looks like people are not going to be getting along with each other. It can be that you and other people won't see eye to eye. Even people that you would expect to be getting along well with, there's going to be glitches, there's going to be upsets, and difficulties of one sort or another between you and other people. And what gets in the way is the devil. And it can be that because the devil is people sort of generally behaving, thinking they're weak and feeling that they need to cut corners or that they can't trust that things are going to work out to the way they want. So they feel that they have to act in an underhanded way or lie or cheat or in some way try and manipulate people and conditions so they can get what they want because they don't believe for whatever reason that they're going to get what they want or things are going to go their way. So it could be with this Two of Cups here. This can be, we're not sort of making it up as we go along, but we're trying to make sense of the cards that have appeared, and we're thinking of the question as well. So this Two of Cups can be, that's you not getting along with people. Make sure that you don't do things that you later know you don't knowingly do things that you know later you're going to regret. So take the high ground. If you're given the chance to cheat or to get an unfair advantage over other people, don't take it, because it's only going to make this worse, or it's only going to make the bad feeling between you and other people last an awful lot longer than it would if you would just be kind and generous and nice to people, because you get back what you give out, and in the end the love you take is equal to the love you make, sang John Lennon. So the question instead of that could be, and this is the kind of thing you can do on your own. So you've got one question, it's what's going to happen for the next 3 months. Another question could be, what are my odds of success in this promotion that I'm going for? So you look at the same two cards, Two Cups upside down for a card, what kind of atmosphere with promotion, and you've got here, there's going to be competition, people are going to get disappointed, not everybody can get the job. So what do you do in the meantime? Maybe come up with plan B if you don't get it. Or understand that, realise that if you get the job and these other people don't, you're still going to have to work with them, 6 months from now, because they're not going to leave the company. So be careful that you act nicely and considerately of other people, because if you do get the job, you're going to have to work with these people, and you don't want resentment on their part to interfere, because you could get the job or promoted position, but because you've annoyed so many people getting it, they sort of gang up on you and they cooperate against you. So you're not a success in the new position, but in a way it's your own fault, because if you hadn't antagonized all these people in the first place, they'd have been more cooperative later. So with this card, take the long-term view, right? And what gets in the way? The devil. So this can be people looking for shortcuts, people looking to undermine you, but also it can be you tempted, because a keyword for this devil card is temptation, right? So this can be you tempted to do what you know is wrong just so you can get what you want, and it's probably going to backfire. So don't. Let's say that's enough for that one, or we've run out of things to say. So we take another one card and the card across it. What's going to happen in the next 6 months? 6 of Batons, card of victory. Things are going to go well. You know, look for promotion at work. Look for getting along with people. If there's 6 people, if you're a member of a team, the team's going to do well. Everybody's going to pull their weight. Things like that. But it's the wreaths here represent victory and symbols of victory. So be optimistic, be confident, because the people you're working with or the people you're involved with are going to be optimistic about the future. So the economy may be bad, but they recognise that there's always room for a good idea. There's always room for improvement. And if we can work on improving things, then we're going to be in a much stronger position when the economy comes round. Something like that. That's just generally for the next few months. The opposing force, the Queen of Swords. So you have to wonder, is this Queen of Swords the person on the horse? So what gets in the way is this Queen of Swords. It can be a woman who's authoritative. It could be a woman who's too harsh. She's got a sword in her hand. So we're looking at this card, because it's the opposing force, as some kind of difficulty or something that's not quite right. So we sort of take the negative view of this Queen of Swords, and she's too picky, she's too difficult, she's too harsh. So you do a good job, and all she does is point out that you left out a comma on page 1, or you didn't, you forgot to format a subheading, that kind of thing, which is kind of annoying, but in a way, which is stronger? Somehow this card, I think, is stronger than that. So general success, but niggling doubts, little things that will annoy you, and not to be taken that seriously, I think. So that's again, then you could change this question and then pick more cards. So that's the kind of thing to do. Know the question, have a variety of questions, and pick a couple of cards and do what you can with them, and then change the subject or change the question and see what you can do with those same cards, but for a different kind of question. And you'll find that you develop your own tarot reading muscles and become much stronger. Okay.
Okay, so I hope you found that useful, just looking at those few cards. And that is how you can practice. So you can set aside a period of time and work at that, choosing 2 cards. Or you can pick a couple of cards and think about them at odd times during the day, and see what kind of answers you would come up with. Okay, so I mentioned earlier at the beginning that we talk about tarot readings, but really it's more like a tarot speaking. So in the beginning, and even if you've got some experience, you can have trouble getting started, or you can get stuck partway through a reading, or looking at a particular card, and then you feel the need to pick in the next one, even though you haven't said much about the first one. So in the next video, in a 2-card spread part 2, I'll show you an exercise so you can activate your ability to read cards. It's in you, the ability, but you have to wake it up, and I'll show you how. So that's it. You can leave a comment below, or email bllntr@yahoo.com, and we'll take it from there. So that's it. Until the next time. Thanks very much.